All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. This is a weekend edition, so we're going to go through what happened this week. But more importantly, I really want to dig into a chart over what's happened the last 6 weeks. I know a lot of people are really starting to panic. I see it from a lot of stuff on my channel, anywhere from the comments to a lot of statistics that people are really panicking. So I want to go through these numbers in detail, and I'm not saying that they should panic or they shouldn't panic. I really just want to bring you these numbers. So I'm going to go through all my normal charts, but I'm going to pay special attention to really the last month and a half has been brutal. So I'm going to let you know where I think we're going and what I'm doing about it. So let's get to it. Let's start with the first chart, which is what happened this past week. So if we take a look, this last week actually, other than a couple of outliers, which we're going to discuss, was a very calm week for the Bitcoin miners. You're going to see Bitcoin itself actually was up 0%. So it changed only a few dollars. It wasn't even enough to round up to a 1% up or down move. So you're going to see that in gold at 0%. There were two Bitcoin miners in the green up 5%. So still very small moves. That was BitDeer and Stronghold. BitDeer continues to rally. I'm a little bit nervous about that, and I'll tell you why later. So obviously, again, not financial advice, but I do want to hit about that one. And then if you look, most of the rest of these are down 1%, 4%, 5%, 6%. So let's go to the bottom of the list first. There were two that had anywhere from bad to catastrophic weeks. DigiHost was down 27% this week. That's 1 week. So that was bad. And that would be the one that we're talking about, if not for the fact that Mawson, stock ticker MIGI, was down 55% this week. It actually was down even a lot more than that at certain points. That's a massive move to the downside. This has been catastrophic for them. They're down well over 99% from their peak in November of 2021. A lot of people are starting to feel like this is going to go out of business imminently, so I'm not sure what the answer to that is. I will say they put out their financial statements. They looked very similar. Their June 30th financial statements looked very similar, in my opinion, to their March 31st financial statements. So I did express some concern at that point. I see more of the same right now. I personally think there could be a swing trade to be made in here if Bitcoin rallies, but I'm not recommending that. Again, not financial advice. That is an ultra high risk trade. So for those of you who swing trade or day trade, you can put this on your watch list and look into that. But right now, at the moment, momentum is in the wrong direction for Mawson. And really, you can see this week, almost every single Bitcoin miner was in the red. But this is not the chart I want to focus on. If you only really pay attention to one chart that we're going to look at today, it's this next one. So this is the activity over the last 6 weeks. Okay, so you can see this chart is deeply red. You're going to see, as always, Bitcoin is in gold, down 14%. So there is one Bitcoin miner that has outperformed Bitcoin, and that is BitDeer. So once again, even in this 6-week period where most of the Bitcoin miners got beat up anywhere from a little to a lot, BitDeer was at 0. It's 1 penny different than it was 6 weeks ago. So almost completely sideways. Bitcoin down 14%. So that was a big move to the downside. Bitcoin peaked several months ago now. This is the second time this year that we've had about a 2-month run here of Bitcoin going sideways or pulling backwards a little bit. The last time it happened, Bitcoin pulled back about 20%. We're about 14% down at the moment. But this time around, you're going to see, we always talk about the Bitcoin miners being a leveraged play, and I always try to really reiterate that leverage plays both to the upside and to the downside. So I consider these a 3x leverage. That number is not perfect. You're going to see it varies from Bitcoin miner to Bitcoin miner, and we will talk more about the fact that I do think there are going to be some winners and some losers, and the closer we get to the halving, the more that's going to shift. The more important that's going to be is to be in the right Bitcoin miner. I can't tell you which ones those are. I can tell you the ones that I like, but not financial advice. You guys got to dig in, see the ones you like, if any. Okay, so if we look at this chart, you're going to see most of these are somewhere in that 3x leveraged play. So down 14%, that would be a 42% move to the downside. Riot, which is the largest Bitcoin miner by market cap, it's down 46% in that period of time. Now, we're going to look at year to date. It's still having a very good year this year, but this is a big move to the downside in 6 weeks. And the thing is, we move in hyper speed right now. So especially in Bitcoin and in the cryptocurrency world, 6 weeks can seem like an eternity. I see a lot of retail investors bailing out at this time. So, I don't know where we go from here. We may pull back more. Like I said, the last time that we had a pullback, it was 20%. 20 to 25% pullbacks are very natural in Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency world. So there may yet be more pain to come. But this is one of those deals. Do you want to try to time the bottom? You have to weigh that with, your ability to put your head on your pillow and go to sleep at night. You do not want to have money invested that's keeping you up at night. And, I don't blame people if they're down 42% or 46% or more in a 6-week window of time. Exhaustion does set in, and some people are going to sell. This is a natural part of the process. So, if you're one of those people, hopefully you can take a time out and catch your breath and maybe get back into the game when the time is right for you. If you're still holding on, I have been very strategically dollar cost averaging into 3 stocks in particular. So, those are the ones that I'm looking at. Again, you guys have to decide, is this a good opportunity? What is your investment time horizon? What do you think Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners' long-term outlook looks like? I still have high conviction in Bitcoin over the long term. I still have high conviction in several of the Bitcoin miners, but I will say I do not blame people if they are getting nervous and they're getting scared right now. Some of these Bitcoin miners I don't think are going to survive the halving. So this is where we have to be really careful to pick the winners. Mawson, which we saw was down 55% in just this week. It's down 80% over the last 6 weeks. So for those of you who have been holding on to this, that is a very, very tough ride. I don't know which way this one goes. They're a very cash flow negative company. They themselves, right in their financial statements, say they're not sure they're going to be able to survive for the next year. Now, they are not alone. There's an awful lot of companies put that into their financial statements. It's a required disclosure under certain circumstances. They're not the only Bitcoin miner that says that, but it is concerning, and down 80% in 6 weeks is very difficult. And again, they're down over 99% off of their highs from 2021. But even stocks like DigiHost down 56%. That's a tough ride. Argo Blockchain down 51%. That's a tough ride. I had mentioned Riot, which is the largest by market cap, is down 46%. But if you look at Marathon, that's the second largest by market cap. That's down 42% in a 6-week period of time. So, there's almost no flight to safety. The one thing that has defied the trend, and in my opinion, defied logic, is BitDeer, stock ticker BTDR. They are at absolute zero. They changed only 1 penny versus what their price was 6 weeks ago. Some of the better performers, Core Scientific's only down 22%, but that's a big move to the downside. Stronghold's only down 31%, but again, that's a tough move to the downside. In any other stock, those would be big, big moves on an annual basis, never mind on a 6-week basis. So very, very volatile stock. I just want to spend 1 second and talk about the fact that these are small cap stocks. In fact, most of them aren't even small cap stocks. Technically, by definition, they're micro cap stocks and nano cap stocks. So those have even increased volatility versus the larger stocks for a variety of reasons. So I just want to spend a minute, take a look at this chart right here and really sink in and understand, where is your risk tolerance? I guess that is the biggest question each person should be asking themselves. Where is your risk tolerance? This is an extremely red chart. There's some big numbers on here. And with Bitcoin down 14%, remember, we've had two 20+% pullbacks inside of this bull run in 2023. If this does the typical 20 to 25%, there could be more pain ahead. And by the way, there's no telling, it could be worse than that. We could be at a trend reversal, in which case, we could be entering a longer period of a downtrend. So you need to understand, are you a day trader, a swing trader, or are you buy and hold with a longer time horizon? And if so, is that 2 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 20 years? So you're going to come up with different answers as to how you want to invest based on all those questions. So I talked about this chart for a little bit extra today because I do think out of everything we're looking at, this one is the one that's driving people's emotions by far. This week itself was actually fairly boring, but it's week 6 now of negative activity for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So this is getting exhausting for a lot of people. Okay, conversely, I'm going to take us to the year-to-date chart. So you're going to see, whereas the last chart was red in a big way, this chart is still, for the most part, very, very green. Now remember, Bitcoin hit a multi-year low in November and December of 2022, and all of these Bitcoin miners either hit a local low, their 52-week low. Most of them actually hit their all-time low somewhere in December of 2022. So from those all-time lows, even after this big pullback, you'll see this chart is very, very green year to date. So, taking a look at this picture feels a little bit different. If you're in Core Scientific, you're up over 800% year to date. If you're in Cypher, Cypher's up 430% year to date. That is a monster move to the upside despite the recent pullback. BitDigital, 290%. So that's very close to a 4x. Remember, 300% would be 4x the price. So a lot of these still in the 200% range. It's worth noting that Riot and Marathon are the two biggest by market cap, and you'll see they're both still up over 200% year to date. So looking at this picture, makes you feel a little bit better, but that still does not help you on the day-to-day grind over a 6-week period. Red week after red week after red week, this has been difficult. So do reflect on this if you're buying and holding. This year you're still up potentially in the 200 or 300% range. There are some now that are underperforming. So this chart, I think, is showing there are going to be winners and losers, particularly if Bitcoin crawls like it is. So without a drastic move to the upside, I do think a lot of these Bitcoin miners are going to really struggle into the halving, which we're much less than a year away from. April of 2024 is going to be the halving. So, that's about 8 months from now. So with that said, you're going to see that Bitcoin is up 57% year to date. It was up at one point over 80%. It actually, from its lows in November, it was up over 100%. So it has pulled back from there, but still up quite a bit. It's still one of the best performing assets this year to date. There's no telling, are these going to survive? Obviously, the market is telling us that between Argo Blockchain, Eni, Mawson, there's some serious worry that these companies maybe aren't going to make it at all. So I do still think there's some opportunities in here, but I'm being more and more selective. As things get tough and stay tough. I am dollar cost averaging in. That's not financial advice. You guys got to do what you're comfortable with, but I'm being very selective and I'm in no hurry. I don't know how long this downward trend is going to last. So finally, we'll just take a quick look at the last chart. This is market cap as of August 25th. So you're going to see I've listed out the top 12, and then you're going to see a 13th Argo blockchain. Once you go to the 13th largest by market cap, you go all the way down to 54 million. That's almost a 75% drop off from number 12 to number 13, and all the rest are even smaller than that. So if we take a look, the top 12 remained identical week over week. So Riot's still the largest, Marathon the second largest. So in third place is BitDeer. BitDeer's over $1.5 billion. It is getting very close to the same size market cap as Riot and Marathon. This trades on a very small fraction of the volume that these other two companies trade at. There are days where Marathon and Riot trade 100 times the volume that BitDeer trades. So, liquidity of a stock is one of the important things if you're holding a stock or trading a stock. So almost a 50% drop off to get to Cypher at $757 million. Cleanspark rounds out the top 5 at $693 million. And again, like I said, the top 12 are in the same order as they were in the previous week. So please be careful trading these. I do say this every week. These are very high volatility stocks. So know your risk tolerance and expect big swings on these. So that's what's going on with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners this week. And again, I count this as week 6 of what is a downward trend. So hopefully there's better times ahead, but we shall see. So that's it. That wraps up the week in Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video.